Hello everyone, I'm going to do a video review of the Vivitar DVR 785HD. It's basically a GoPro knockoff. The case is relatively well built. It's pretty sturdy, surprisingly. The mount's not bad. The two mounts that come with it aren't bad. I actually have one of them up here that I modified. It was supposed to be a helmet mount that I attached to a hat, so that way I can use it for fishing. It actually holds much heavier cameras than that one, so it's not a bad mount. And the other one attaches to like a pipe or handlebar or something like that. I set it up on a PVC pipe for the back of my kayak. However, what I want to get down into is the fact that I used this thing for approximately 2 to 3 hours. Had no problems with the beginning footage that I took with it. I had it in the waterproof case pretty much the whole time. It fits good in the case and everything like that. That's what it looks like inside the case. So yeah, pretty much a GoPro knockoff. But the reason I have tools here, let's get down to that. Not that many tools are needed for this little problem, but the more I use the camera, the cloudier and cloudier the images got. Well, I figured out why, and I'll explain that in just a moment. I was out on a very hot day. It was probably 90 degrees outside. I had it attached to the back of my kayak on the mount, and then switched it to my head mount because I noticed that the footage was going a little bit off and I wanted to keep an eye on the screen. So what I did, when I got home, I tested it again to make sure it wasn't just my imagination, and it was so cloudy, and I'll run the footage here in a second, that you basically couldn't tell what was going on. It was completely out of focus. It basically looked like it was stuck in macro mode. Like it was set up for only close-up shots, and that was about it. So I figured out what the problem was. The lens was out of focus, and it does say on the lens that it is a fixed focus lens. However, that is technically incorrect, because inside the camera itself, it is on a screw-on mount, so they can adjust the focus at the factory, glue it in place, and ship it out. What happened was, in the heat inside the case, the glue had melted and had basically just let the thing turn on its own accord, and then it re-locked itself into place again. So it screwed itself in probably about a half turn, and therefore went out of focus, and it was only good to about 1 to 9 inches. And then once you got past about the 9-inch mark, it went so you couldn't read text, you couldn't see hardly what anything was. It was just blobs. And so let's get down to showing you how to fix it. Okay, first is a little disclaimer. I'm going to let you know that if you're going to try to do this to fix the camera, then it is going to void your warranty. So if it's not something you're comfortable doing, and if you want to send it back to Vivitar, then by all means that's the safest route. So what I did is, you can see on the end of the camera right here that there's a screw hole there and the screw hole there. Same thing on the other side of the camera. Screw hole on both sides. You can see that there's no screws in them at the moment because I'm keeping them removed for the purposes of, if this happens again, that I can fix the problem quickly while I'm out on my boat or out fishing. So all you need to do is take these two screws, or all these two screws out on this side and 2 screws out on this side. The pressure needed to take these screws out is kind of a problem. The plastic is so cheap that when I was applying torque inward to remove the screw, it would just keep popping back into the camera. So I would be turning counterclockwise. It would start to come out, pop back into the camera. So I actually needed to use a knife to just kind of pop underneath the edge of the screw in the hole and pop that out once I got it to the point where I could get the knife underneath of it. Now to get the camera apart, once those screws are out, all you have to do is apply a little bit of force. on both sides of the camera. Which basically you can see right here, there's a couple little lines. Pull a little bit. Both sides there are little plastic tabs. Pull this out of the way. The two sides of the camera, and then you have the internals, which I'll flip this back away. Okay, so now that we've got the circuit board exposed, you can see the lens, and you can see that the lens is screwed on to a post, and that's what controls the focus. If you use a pair of pliers, a small pair of pliers, and grip the lens pretty gently, then you can use that, and I use just a simple small pair of needle nose pliers, and I gripped the lens and I just turned it just hard enough to break the glue, so that way I could get that lens to spin. And I turned it counterclockwise and then turned the camera on to check and see how the focus was, and just slowly adjusted it by hand until I achieved the correct focus that I needed.